Welcome, my dear friend. Perhaps, at least once in your life, this classic melody has echoed in your mind. When I find myself in times of trouble, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. We often sing along to it as a form of comfort. But have you ever, amidst heart-wrenching upheavals, when a loved one turns their back on you, or when all your efforts suddenly vanish like smoke, asked yourself, how can I let it be when my heart is in turmoil? Why does reason tell me to go, yet my hands unconsciously clench the sharp shards until they bleed? Is let it be a helpless surrender? Or is it a profound level of wisdom that we have yet to touch? Today, let us sit together, take a deep breath, and look into the heart of letting go through the lens of the Buddha. To see that letting go is not losing, but the only way for you to accept reality and find complete peace amidst the impermanent flow of life. 1. My dear friend, to truly understand the art of letting go, we must first courageously look straight at the nature of life through the lens of the Four Noble Truths. The first truth the Buddha pointed out is the existence of suffering, dukkha. Suffering here is not just great tragedies like birth, death, or separation. It is much subtler. It is the lingering sense of dissatisfaction, the disappointment when things do not go as planned, the vague anxiety even when we are happy because we fear that joy will slip away. We suffer because we constantly crave to hold on to things that are inherently changing. But what is the deep root of that suffering? The Buddha taught that the origin of suffering lies not in external circumstances, but in our clinging and our resistance to reality. Let's visualize a very common little story. You have carefully planned an outdoor picnic with your family for the weekend. You are excited, prepared, and expecting a beautiful sunny day. However, on that very morning, a storm arrives and rain pours down relentlessly. The rain in itself is just a natural phenomenon. It is the truth happening right now. That is pain, the inconvenience you cannot avoid. But suffering only truly begins when you stand by the window, looking at the rain, and screaming in your mind. You blame the heavens. You are frustrated because your plans are ruined. You torment yourself over your bad luck. It is that attitude of resisting the rain, that mind refusing to accept reality, that exhausts you, not the raindrops outside. We have a very important psychological formula. Suffering equals pain multiplied by resistance. Life will always bring sudden rains, a criticism, a loss, or a failure. That is an inevitable part of the human experience. But whether you suffer from it or not depends on whether you are straining to fight against it. The more you resist, the deeper the wound. The more you cling to the script that the sun must shine, the more painful it is when it rains. The good news is that the Buddha did not only show us the illness, he also gave us the cure. That is the path leading to the cessation of suffering, known as the Noble Eightfold Path. And the core spirit of that path is learning how to let it be. Let it be here is not giving up in apathy. It is an attitude of wise acceptance. When it rains, instead of complaining, we accept the rain and calmly brew a hot cup of tea to enjoy by the window. When things do not go as planned, we stop the resistance so the mind can be at peace. When you stop fighting with reality, the 1,000-pound burden in your heart will automatically fall away. That is the first step of freedom. 2. When your hands have begun to feel the weight of clinging, the mind will naturally lead you to another great truth of the universe. That is impermanence, or in Sanskrit, Anicca. This is not sad news. On the contrary, it is the golden key to unlock the prison of suffering where we have confined ourselves. We are often afraid of change. We want our loved ones to stay by our side forever. We want the feeling of happiness to last eternally. And when things change, when a relationship breaks down or a peaceful phase ends, we feel as if the sky is collapsing. But my dear friend, look deep into the nature of life. Life is a continuous flow, never ceasing. There is nothing, absolutely nothing, that remains in the same state for 2 consecutive moments. Imagine your life like a great river. The river water is always flowing, never standing still. Your emotions, the circumstances you encounter, are like that water. Sometimes the river is calm and flat. Sometimes it surges over violent rapids. But the nature of water is to flow. If you try to build a dam to stop the flow because you want to keep a certain moment forever, you will only create pressure, stagnation, and eventually a breach. Our clinging is precisely that hopeless effort to free the river of life. Try looking back at the pains in your past, especially the times your heart was broken. Is it true that when sadness struck, when separation happened, you once believed you would never be able to be happy again? You believed that darkness was eternal. But look, today you are still sitting here, still breathing. That violent storm of years ago is now just a passing breeze in your memory. Pain, no matter how heart-wrenching, also follows the law of impermanence. It arrives, it peaks, and then it fades and dissolves over time. Understanding impermanence, you will no longer be so terrified when facing adversity. You will learn to view unpleasant emotions as clouds drifting across the sky. Dark clouds may obscure the sun for a while. Thunder may roar, but the sky is always there, vast and all-embracing. The sky does not cling to any cloud. It allows clouds to come and allows clouds to go. You are that sky. Sadness and loss are merely the weather passing through your soul. When you accept that everything is temporary, you will lessen your tension. You will no longer try to squeeze your hand to hold on to things that want to leave. You will cherish the present moments more because you know they will not repeat. But you are also ready to let go gently when the affinity has ended. Please carve this magical mantra into your heart whenever you feel stuck. This too shall pass. Joy will pass, so cherish it without arrogance. Suffering will also pass, so be patient with it without despair. Impermanence is the reminder that no prison is eternal, and you always have the opportunity to start a new, brighter chapter. 3. Once we have understood the flow of impermanence, we step into the third lesson, one often misunderstood, but holding the most exquisite beauty of Buddhism: non-attachment. Many people worry that if we live without attachment, will we become cold, unfeeling, or indifferent to life? Please do not worry. Non-attachment absolutely does not mean you stop loving or caring. On the contrary, it is the only way you can love completely and purely without being muddied by fear. Non-attachment means you cherish the flower blooming brilliantly before your eyes. You enjoy its fragrance, but you do not arouse the desire to pluck it and put it in your pocket to possess it for yourself. You love its beauty, but you also accept the truth that it will fade when the sun goes down. To help you feel the difference between loving and possessing more clearly, let us practice a small visualization together. Imagine you are standing in a quiet garden. Suddenly, a beautiful little bird flies in from somewhere and lands gently on your open palm. In that moment, your heart trembles with happiness. You feel the warmth, the heartbeat, and the trust that this tiny creature places in you. It is a wonderful connection. But right after, a fear begins to creep in. You are afraid the bird will fly away. You want to keep this joy for yourself forever. Instinctively, out of possessiveness, your fingers begin to curl. You want to grasp the bird. And what will happen? If you grip too tight, you will crush those fragile wings, killing the beauty you yearn to keep. Or if you just barely close your hand, the bird will panic, struggle, and fly away, never to return. Your control has destroyed the present moment. Conversely, if you can conquer that fear, if you bravely keep your palm open, flat, and relaxed, that bird will feel safe. It might stand there and sing for you, preen its wings, and enjoy the peace with you. And even when it takes flight to explore the sky, you will smile and watch it go without resentment, because you know the sky is where it belongs. You are happy for its freedom. That is the spirit of let it be. Let it be as it is. Our lives and relationships operate exactly like the image of that bird. The root of suffering in love lies not in loving too much, but in trying to turn the person you love into private property. We often paste the label mine on everything. My husband, my child, my success. That label of possession creates invisible pressure. We want our loved ones to live according to our will. We want our children to fulfill our dreams. We want success to stay forever. That hopeless effort of control has strangled the joy of living for you and for those around you. The Buddha reminds us of a naked truth. We cannot even possess this body. We cannot order it not to age, not to get sick, not to die. So how can we possess external things? Everything that comes to us in this life is a temporary gift from the universe. They come for us to experience, to learn, not for us to store in a safe. When you practice non-attachment, you transform your love from frozen water into flowing water. You love your partner not because they make you happy, but because you wish for them to be themselves. You care for your children not so they can repay you, but so they have strong wings to fly into the world. Try applying the open hand mindset to your life today. When you feel your chest tighten with worry for someone far away, or restless because a project has no result yet, stop. Look down at your hands, which are unconsciously clenching. Slowly, gently open your fingers wide, relaxing every muscle. Take a deep breath and tell yourself, I let go of control. I return freedom to others and to myself. When you dare to open your hand, you lose nothing. On the contrary, open hands are the only hands ready to receive the new good things the universe wants to bestow. Letting go of attachment is the pinnacle of trust in life, a declaration that you are brave enough to love without binding. 4. When our hands have learned to open without attachment, our minds need one more quality to anchor firmly amidst the changing currents of life: patience and acceptance. My dear friend, in this modern world that worships speed, we seem to have lost the capacity to wait. We want messages to be answered immediately, heart wounds to heal overnight, and success to arrive the moment we put in the effort. The root of that impatience is the conflict between our expectations and the actual rhythm of life. We suffer because we are constantly at war with reality. Try observing yourself in a very ordinary situation, for example, when you are stuck in heavy traffic or standing in a long line at the supermarket. This is when the real challenge begins. Our natural reaction is often annoyance, complaining, honking the horn incessantly, or tapping our feet in impatience. But ask yourself, does that discomfort make the traffic move faster? Not at all. It only raises your blood pressure and shatters the peace within you. Acceptance here is not weak resignation, but the awakening to realize that I am here right now, and I choose not to turn this moment into hell. Instead of fighting the weight, relax, breathe, and enjoy the rare moments of idleness the universe has gifted you. But being patient with traffic is easy. Being patient with your own pain is truly difficult. There are times when you have just gone through a major breakdown, a separation, or a bitter failure in your career. Your heart is bleeding, and your mind is in panic. You want to banish that sadness immediately. You force yourself to be happy, to be strong, to get over it quickly. But my friend, how can a tree bloom the moment the seed is sown? How can a deep wound heal in the blink of an eye? Being impatient with yourself is sometimes the cruelest form of mental abuse. The philosophy of let it be teaches us that healing is an organic process, not a sprint. Look at the cold winter outside. The trees are bare, silent, and seemingly lifeless. But they are not in a hurry. They do not scream for spring to come immediately. They patiently accumulate sap deep within the earth, waiting for enough sun, enough wind, and the buds will automatically burst forth. Your pain also needs time to incubate like that. Allow yourself to be sad, to be weak, to rest. Be patient with your own heart as you would be patient with a toddler learning to walk. Accepting reality is how you put down your weapons and stop fighting against what has already happened. When you stop resisting, the storm inside will automatically subside. You will realize that you don't need to try to change the flow. You just need to flow with it. Every nagging question in your heart will eventually have an answer, but not when you force it to appear, but when your mind is quiet enough to listen. Just let everything happen as it is, and trust that life always has its own route for you. 5. Once we have learned to be patient with the flow of life, mindfulness is the strongest anchor to keep the boat of your consciousness from drifting away. My dear friend, if you look deep into the causes of daily anxieties, you will see that its root often lies in the fact that our minds rarely stay in one place. Try to recall an experience that perhaps all of us have had. You sit down to eat lunch after hours of stressful work. In front of you is a bowl of hot rice, delicious food. But where is your mind at that moment? Perhaps it is busy replaying the heated argument with a colleague this morning, or worrying about next month's unpaid bills. You chew and swallow mechanically. You finish the meal without feeling the sweetness of the rice or the fragrance of the vegetables. Your body is fed, but your soul is starved. That is mindlessness. We live like sleepwalkers, wandering everywhere in the timeline of the past and future, but absent from our own real life. Mindfulness, understood most simply, is the art of bringing the mind back to reunite with the body in this very moment. It does not require you to climb high mountains or sit in meditation for hours. It invites you to practice right in the smallest things. When you drink a cup of tea, just drink tea. Do not drink it along with work worries. Feel the warmth spreading through your palm, the gentle fragrance rushing into your nose, and the sweet tartness soaking on the tip of your tongue. When you walk, be aware of every touch of your feet on the ground. Feel the breeze gliding over your skin. The moment you are whole with reality, all burdens of the past and fears of the future will automatically vanish because they cannot exist in the now. To practice more deeply, we need to distinguish clearly between thoughts and awareness. We often identify ourselves with the noisy voices in our heads. When an angry thought arises, we believe we are hot-tempered people. When sadness comes, We believe we are unhappy people. But mindfulness helps you separate yourself from that chaotic flow. Imagine your mind is a vast blue sky, and thoughts and emotions are just drifting clouds. Clouds can be dark and stormy, or white and gentle, but the sky is never the clouds. The sky is just the space that holds and observes the clouds. When you practice mindfulness, you become that sky. You observe the anger rising, you see it, you smile at it, but you are not swept away by it. You realize that you are much greater than your thoughts. Mindfulness does not promise to change your living circumstances immediately. It does not make traffic jams disappear or a difficult boss become pleasant. But it completely changes the way you experience those things. Instead of reacting with habitual irritability, you face everything with calmness and clarity. Remember, the past is gone, and the future has not yet arrived. Only the present moment is the only true life you can grasp. Do not miss your appointment with life. Use your breath as an anchor to return, so that every passing moment is a moment lived fully and deeply. That is the most solid foundation of peace. 6. When mentioning renunciation or the term letting go in Buddhism, we often develop a hidden fear. We mistakenly think that letting go means giving up all possessions, living a life of poverty, or turning our backs on worldly joys. But my dear friend, that is a tragic misunderstanding. Renunciation is not refusing life, but refusing the unnecessary burdens that prevent you from enjoying life to the fullest. To understand the nature of attachment, imagine your life as a mountain climb. On your shoulders, you carry a very large backpack, but instead of carrying only necessary food and water, you pick up everything along the way and stuff it in. Each anger is a boulder. Each worry about the future is another stone. The expectations placed on children, the need to prove yourself to others, or toxic relationships that have drained your energy, all are sharp and heavy stones. You keep climbing with a heavier backpack, sweating, legs weary, and breath short. You complain that the mountain is too high, the path too steep, but you forget that it is the stones you voluntarily carry that are causing your exhaustion. Renunciation is the brave act of stopping by the roadside, opening that backpack, and starting to take out those stones and throw them away. You let go of material things you no longer use but keep hoarding, cluttering your living space. You let go of the need to please everyone. You let go of old beliefs that you are not good enough. When you drop a stone, you do not become poorer. On the contrary, you become richer with space to breathe. Your shoulders are lighter, your steps more graceful. You start to have the strength to look up at the blue sky, hear the birds sing, and enjoy your climbing journey. Letting go is not a loss. It is a wise exchange. You exchange heaviness for lightness. You exchange bondage for freedom. Remember, we come to this world empty-handed and will leave the same way. The only meaningful luggage is the lightness in the soul we carry. 7. My dear friend, closing our journey today, the most important question remaining is, how do we take the spirit of let it be out of this video and apply it to the practical chaos of tomorrow? Letting go is not a moment of enlightenment on a mountaintop, but a lifestyle practiced in every breath, every smallest decision. To help you apply this easily, remember 3 golden principles for the 3 most common situations we encounter. First, when plans change suddenly. Life rarely goes 100% according to our script. There will be days when it rains when you want sun, the car breaks down when you are in a hurry, or an important appointment is canceled. At that moment, Instead of wasting energy screaming, "Why now?" take a deep breath and tell yourself, this is the reality happening. Acceptance does not mean you like it, but that you stop arguing with it to keep a cool head and find the next solution. Be flexible like water. When meeting a rock, bend the flow, do not headbutt the rock. Second, when unpleasant emotions arrive, do not try to drive away sadness or anger. Remember the image of the sky and clouds. Step back. Observe that emotion as a visiting guest. I see anger is present. Let it come. Let it stay as long as it likes, and let it leave on its own when it runs out of energy. Do not identify yourself with that guest. Third, and most importantly, when others do not live according to your will. This is the greatest challenge of letting go. Remember that everyone had their own karmic journey, their own lessons to learn. You cannot live anyone else's life, including your children or partner. Instead of trying to mold, control, or judge them, switch to the mode of understanding and companionship. Love them as they are, not as you want them to be. And please remember this carefully to avoid confusion. Letting go never means being passive. Living with letting go does not mean lying down waiting for fruit to fall, indifferent to whatever life brings. That is an irresponsible attitude. The spirit of Buddhism is, live with your best effort, but do not attach to the outcome. You sow the best seeds, care for them meticulously, that is effort. But whether the tree bears fruit or not, or whether the fruit is big or small, that is the result. Let the earth and sky decide, that is letting go. When you work with this mindset, you will find yourself full of energy and enthusiasm, but extremely relaxed, unburdened by the pressure of success or failure. Before parting, I want to give you a mantra to carry with you, like a lamp lighting the way when your mind is troubled. Whisper this sentence whenever you feel you are carrying too much. I do my best in the present, and I trust implicitly in the flow of the universe. I hope this video has brought you a quiet moment of peace and new perspectives to lighten the luggage on your shoulders. If these sharings have touched your heart, please give a like and subscribe to the channel so we can continue to walk together on the path of finding balance and awakening. Please leave a comment sharing what you decided to let go of today. Thank you for listening. May you always be steadfast as a mountain, free as a cloud, and peaceful to let everything be. Goodbye, and see you again.